Hey everybody, it's Andy's free guitar chart videos for this morning. And Princess is here. She's out of the box. We're just going to be catching up a couple of charts till we start today's chart. Now, what we got is 487 here, minor modal scale shapes and cages. This is where it all started a few weeks ago, where I attempted to define minor cages, and I guess we realized that no matter how you define it, you've got pretty much the same fretboard that we're looking at here. Now this one's the 12 key rollout here, and we did have lessons on this, and we've got, you keep adding flats here. I know it's dangerous to get into a subject that's not the subject of this lesson, but I want to bring the charts up. And hey, if you like these videos, hit this like and subscribe button, and keep following Andy's free guitar chart videos for the latest and the greatest guitar charts and method for playing guitar Andy's way, if you want to call it that way. Ionian, Mixolydian, Dorian, Aeolian, Phrygian, Locrian, okay? No flats in the Ionian. Okay? One flat in Mixolydian. Okay, one flat in Dorian, two flats in Dorian. Three flats in Aeolian. Four flats in Phrygian. Now let's look at that Phrygian with no flats. That's the key of E, but you play it just the white keys, E to E. That's four flats, and then Locrian has five flats. There it is, all five flats. So that's kind of the orientation of that chart. We also have the 12 key rollout. If we just take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frets per cage, okay, we can look at it two ways. You can take these cages and go along the fretboard, 5 frets here, 5 frets here, 5 frets here. Well, guess what? We'd get about up to here, to this Phrygian. Okay, so this is all hypothetical, this stuff. It's a 12 key cage rollout, and we have the 60 cage system with the big circle. So I'm saying we just expand. This is another example of expanding the idea, and lo and behold, we have up here 12 cages plus one repeat up here to show that it starts again. It says 13, and these are the keys. Now, as I was saying, we can go up the hypothetical fretboard, or these could each be the open fret, and if they are the open fret, then the lowest playable note is the same note as your lowest playable. In your guitar, it usually would be an E. I'm down tuned, so my lowest playable would be a C for the open. Okay, where else did we get to where we are today? Chart 488 is about a week, 2 weeks ago, week and a half, 10 days. Play away, major and minor chord shapes, Aeolian minors, 6, 2, 3, 7th half shapes. Okay, what are 7th half shapes? If I'm playing an E cage here, like E shaped root, A shaped 4th, and then 7th half shaped 5th, because it has the 7th. You hear the quality of the 7th, and it's a half shape. We're using that 7th to create a chord. Without that 7th, we couldn't make a chord there easily. And we could do that with C minor 7th, G minor 7th, D minor 7th, and A minor 7th. We can do it with even G minor 7th. We can do it with C minor 7th. These are shapes now. These aren't absolute. These are not chords. You can do it with D minor 7th. Okay, A minor 7th. Like that. And then you got your G7. Okay, the major one. Alright, which is a half of a C shape. Chart 490. And we're going to be covering today a couple of charts. I think 490 and 491. So here's chart 489. It was still labeled 490 there. I haven't done a lesson. And so this is the chart that we had the lesson on. The last lesson, I believe, unless it was 488. Okay, I think we had 489. I don't know if we got to this lesson. And this is important stuff. I mean, this is what the lesson's about today. Major and minor chords and scales with long play-away modal cages, the KG system. And I fixed it up for the next chart, so we're going to be looking good and make it real easy. So we don't even have to deal with this. But this is a 3-level approach where first, let's say in the A box here, first we've got the regular open cage here. Okay, it says open cage, but it really isn't. I don't know why that says open cage. It's not. The fret nut here is on the 5, and these are unplayables. That would be open cage. These are unplayables. Yes, that would be appropriate. Then we go play away from the cage, which is playing this way to the right. So we start with essentially an open cage here. Let's look at the C box. Now the problem is the C box doesn't have the problem. Okay, so the open cage and play away is going to be the same thing in the C box. The only thing that's different in the C box is when we look at it in context on the neck, where we can go below the C box to the D box, or above the C box to the A box. This is where they're located. Once again, let's just review a second and see that we have the A minor shape. Right here is going to be 3/6 root. The D minor shape is now that's the 6th, the D minor is the 2nd. So we're going to have 6/2/4, that second inversion, second. Okay, so the A minor shape's 3/6 root, but it's kind of up here. And then the E minor shape is going to be 7/3/5. Okay, and each of these 3 minors is the relative minor of the 1, 4, 5. Okay, remember guitar here we got P4 tuning, so it's a perfect 4th. Say 3, 6, 2, 5, 7, 3. All right, doesn't matter what key it is. So as you can see, we got our 3 minors, and when we want to play away from the fret nut, here's a fret nut, let's say. We want to play away, we can also use these 3 shapes, G minor, C minor, and D minor. The G minor shape would be the 6th. Now G minor shape's always in root, C minor, 2nd inversion, starts in 2nd inversion, and D minor. We're going to move up to the A cage here. And here's your 3 minors. That's simply what it is. And then in this option, we can go down to the D cage, where take the cage word in the D letter ahead to C minor, take the G in the caged word, CAG goes to E minor, and A goes to G minor there. So this is our chords and scales within long play-away modal scales, KG'd. That's with the 2 C's and the 2 E's. Okay, so that's all up here in the fretboard. Let's get down on it. Okay, this is the KG'd fretboard. We've got the C cage, okay, but we also have the Lydian. So we've got the Phrygian, short and long, the Lydian here, okay, and then we have the Mixolydian over here in the A cage, alright, and then we got the Aeolian G cage, okay, then we have the Locrian here and the Ionian here in the double E cage, and then we have the Dorian in the D cage over here. Once again, let's look at G. Again, we've got the majors, your root 3, 5, 4, 6 root, and 5, 7, 2, 1, 4, 5. So 1 would be G shaped, 4 would be C shaped, 5 is D shaped, just like on the keyboard. Okay, but remember, the 5th of E is the C shape. How's that work? 5th of E is the C shape. Okay, we say we have an E-shaped G here. Its 5th is C-shaped. 5th is, that's a C-shaped D. 5th of the E shape is the C shape. Alright, so we can't access that, so we do a C minor 7th half shape there. What's the 7th of the Phrygian? Is D. D is 2. So there's your 7th that we're using there. Okay, we've covered that in previous lessons. Play away from the cage now. We're going to the right here. So we're going into the E cage from the D cage. And then in this particular case, we're just going to bring the same shape up once in the second minor and the third minor. Now that's interesting. That makes it easy. That's why it's called play away. And then we look over here, we're doing the same thing here, but down here, what do we got down here? If we go to the left towards the fret nut, we've got a C minor shape, a G minor shape. Remember, this is open, this is on the bar, not open. So we can get these now, they're available now. So for a C minor shape, it'd be 6, 2, 4, 6, 2, and then you'd even have the 4 up here. So but they do line up so that there's like an E here. E is the 5th here and E as the 1st here. They do line up. They don't share. There's a relationship there, okay? The 5th of A is E like that in the small cages, But let's take it even further. So again, that all works with the G cage and the D cage here. The D cage we might want to focus in on because we go back to the C from D and caged. We have our D, G, and our A. Take each one of these ahead. D goes to C minor, G goes to E minor, A goes to G minor. Okay, so for that C minor 7th, that's going to be the 5 is going to be the 7th. For the G minor 7th, the 2 is going to be the 7th. Okay, but we use that to make half chords, or we can just open up on the bar, not open, and we can actually do a C minor right there, 3, 6 root, 3, 6 root right up there into D minor. You can do an arpeggio, you can do partial chords and all that. We want that kind of freedom, but just as long as you understand where these 7ths come in when you have the fret nut in the short cage right there. 490. Okay, major and minor chords and scales within long and short play away modal cages. I definitely wanted to